Good morning. It's kind of cold and foggy here in Banning, California. We did go get our laundry and everything done last night. It was kind of a late night, but I've uploaded no videos. Good news is Starbucks is right next to the hotel. So Roadrunner and I are headed to Starbucks. All right, so today's video is gonna be a little different for this 0 day. I'm gonna try to mix it up and just keep some interesting stuff here. One thing I was realizing as I've been editing my videos for the last few days, I never really explained very well what happened when I fell the other day. So at the end of the days, there are the snow. Later in the day, after the heat of the sun, the snow gets kind of slushy, and it's not as secure when you're walking across these steep slanted slopes. It was late in the day. We were tired, exhausted. We probably should have had, well, we definitely should have had our ice axes out. But we had just been doing snow all day, and it was just kind of like we were complacent, and I shouldn't have been. So I'm walking along. Fireball and Roadrunner were up ahead of me. They had already done the traverse. Hammer was behind me. And as I'm walking, it was just, the snow gave way and both feet went out from under me in an instant. And it was just probably, I don't know, a little steeper than 45-degree, just ice. So I was on my back. I had no way other than my trekking poles, which aren't going to do anything to stop you. So I was sliding fast. There was one tree and then another tree a little further. And then after that, there would have been nothing for hundreds of feet down. It seemed like an eternity, but it probably was only a few seconds. I was grabbing for limbs on the first tree. I think I had one in my hand and it broke. I kept going. Maybe that slowed me a little bit. And then I saw another big tree coming, and I probably was able to like steer or guide myself a little bit to it because I was stretching towards it, and I got my left leg kind of on that tree and got myself stopped. Then I was able to use the tree branches to pull myself up. My adrenaline was pumping, my heart was throbbing, and I was just like scared out of my mind. I looked back up, and I was probably a good 20 feet below the trail on just this solid slab of ice. So I was able to get my pack off while using the tree to brace my feet, and I hung my trekking poles on a tree branch. I was able to get my ice axe out, stow the poles away on my pack, and I cut a step with the blunt end of my ice axe for my first foot. And then I ended up using the ice axe to like slam above me into the ice, and pulled myself up a little bit. And then every step I was just using my feet to kick a new foothold, and I was able to get back to the trail. And then once I got up there, I was able to stand up, complete the traverse. And you know, the whole thing probably only took a few minutes, but my life flashed before my eyes. So that's the story. I've already mentioned someone else got airlifted out. Fireball found some other posts on Facebook this morning. Someone else was in the hospital injured, and they had their arms all wrapped up, their hands wrapped up. It's dangerous. It was a really dangerous spot. I've had a few people comment, oh, well, this other YouTube channel, I'm not going to name them, it did San Jacinto Peak with no problem. I'm here to tell you, you better rewatch that video. They did the peak, which is not part of the trail. We did the PCT through the area. And also, they skipped the second Fuller Ridge and all the spots where this happened. Our Uber ride is here, so this story is over. All right, so that was the whole story earlier. We just got here on our YouTube, and I gotta tell you, this is the real conversation inside of that Uber. Fireball says, "Have you heard of Pacific Crest Trail?" The dude responds, "Have you heard of In-N-Out Burger?" So then, out of nowhere, she goes, "Have you ever heard of burger?" Or no, what?
Have you ever had a Big Mac?
Have you ever had a Big Mac? Like, we're in the bed. It was like the most random
conversation of all time.
Okay, so
I don't know if he heard us at all. Like,
I don't think he heard the backseat at all. So the other part of this video today is going to be about Resupply, because a subscriber, Bethany, thank you very much for the support. You asked for a resupply video, so I'm going to deliver. The short story is, I normally do a resupply based on about 6 snacks or food items per day and a dinner. And then that will vary depending on what I choose for lunch and like if the bars I have are higher protein or whatnot. So we're at a Walmart Supercenter, which is like the mecca of resupply. So I don't know how I'm gonna do this, but I will show you all what I decide. This is going to be an interesting resupply video because I don't have fuel. I only have a little bit left, and the only cans they had here were the ginormous ones, and I didn't want to carry. So I'm doing things a little differently and got things that don't have to be cooked. So that's what I got for now. I also got one of these. It's a nut butter protein plus banana honey. It's got 30 grams of protein in it. Drinking that now. We're gonna probably go to lunch here, I'm assuming, when we're finished, or back to the room, I'm not sure yet. Roadrunner and I are outside waiting for the other two to come out. And once we get back to the room later, I will go through all this resupply in a little more detail. All right, so we're back from the grocery store. I have all of my food laid out here for purposes of the video. And this is gonna be weird because I explained earlier that I normally look at a dinner for every day, which is usually something like a ramen with some peanut butter or a Mountain House meal or something like that, trying to aim for like at least 600 or 700 calories, like a real meal. And then usually have a candy bar and maybe one other thing, just depending on how hungry I am. The other thing I look at is depending on what I'm gonna do for lunch. So if I'm gonna pack out something more hearty, like some salami and tortillas, then it's looking at, okay, how much protein is in the bars. This is completely different because one, I was out of electrolytes, so I needed to replenish those, and I didn't feel like I had enough this last trek. And this whole situation of no stove is gonna make this interesting. So I'm gonna show you what I have, and I'll talk from the other side of the screen here. Okay, so I'm looking at mostly for meals. Meals being dinners. I will be not cooking. So I do have 2 ramens left from before. Ramen can be eaten either cold soaked or even hard without cooking. So I'm going to keep my ramens. I have a pack of tortillas. Most packs of tortillas are 17.5 ounces. The carb balanced ones are only 12 ounces for the pack. That's why I opted to get those. So with the tortillas, there's 8 there, and we're looking at 3.5 days of food. So I did get 2 of these yellowfin tuna in the ones in olive oil. It's 180 calories for that pack. So I will have 2 tortilla and tuna. Say that 3 times fast. Tortilla and tuna. And then I also have this miniature thing of Skippy peanut butter. So I'll use, most of my meals will be like 6 tortillas will be with peanut butter and then some crunched up Fritos. So lunches, breakfasts, and snacks throughout the day are pretty much all gonna be bars. I did get a big pack of jerky that I can also supplement some protein. There's a lot of protein that packs down small. This is one of the big, like 10 or 11 ounce jerky packages just in a quart Ziploc bag. So I was able to find something I've never had before. These are the Snickers brand high protein bars. They're not in the regular granola bar section at Walmart. They were in like the health section or like with the pharmacy stuff. So these are 20 grams of protein each. So hopefully I would have like 2 of those a day, probably a breakfast and a lunch. And then I've got some Lara bars and Paydays. I like Paydays because there's no chocolate, they don't melt, and they're pretty much good in all weather. And then these were a few bars I had left over from before. So looking at having no lunches and kind of lighter dinners, I would want to be on the high side of 6 meals or 6 snacks a day, and then 3.5 days. So here there are 12. With that's 20. With these I have 25 bars total for 3.5 days, and that's pretty much going to be breakfast, second breakfast, lunch, afternoon snack, and then probably a payday after dinner. So I don't know. I should have enough food.
It's not how I normally do it, but sometimes you just have to do things differently. So I went ahead and made the video as I planned, even though I don't have much fuel. I do have a little bit of fuel, and I'm hoping to be able to make coffee every morning. This is a new thing I've never seen, the Gatorade Light packages. It's bigger than a small Propel package, but not nearly as big as the huge Gatorade packages. These were on sale, so I also got some Goo Hydration tablets. I normally don't do the tablets, but I just want to try something new. So there it is. Thank you again, Bethany, for the support. And hopefully this resupply video answered all your questions. If anybody else has any questions, please put them in comments. Thank you.